Hey guys, welcome back to Doc Loyal Talks Comics, and tonight we have an initial assessment for Nectar. That's the newest #1 book that everybody is clamoring and scrambling for, and this comes from Vault Comics. It's written by, it's Jeremy Robinson is the writer and creator. The inks are done by Anna Paulina Martello, and the layouts are done by Francesco Francini. Colorist is Steve Cannon. And on the back it says, the 19th century, an island village off Salem, Massachusetts is inundated by a strange species of butterflies that spread a dancing plague and have a very particular taste in nectar, human blood. So you have what is generally known as a beautiful and innocuous creature that does not kill, and now it's out to make people have a dancing plague. So it starts out with a graveyard. And back in the day, some people, I'm not going to say that they just fell asleep. I'm not going to say that. But they had mysterious illnesses that at that time were untreatable, and people didn't know how to save them. And so they thought they died. And instead, they might wake up inside the coffin. And that's why in some older cemeteries, you'll see a bell next to each one of the passed on parishioners. Because if that person got trapped, there would be a length of cord, rope, whatever, that would go down into the ground with them. And if by some mistake they got buried alive, they could pull that cord, ring that bell, and somebody would hopefully hear them and come to save them. So that's what we wake up to, is that the graveyard keeper hears bring a, so he's hearing the bell ringing. And he runs out there and he says, for the love of all that's holy, Lord, help me save this woman. Please, God, give me the strength. And he opens the casket up, and there's no woman that's alive, but instead there are butterflies. And when I say butterflies, I mean tons of them that come out of this woman. So now you have body horror. You have, the best of Stephen King here. But then you have a doctor, and this is on Misery Island, which is an offshoot island from Salem, Massachusetts. And this Dr. Amos Hall, he sees this butterfly, and he notices its luminescence. And it almost glows in the dark, is what he's trying to say. And it's unlike any butterfly that he's seen before. He doesn't recognize the genus or the type or anything like that. And apparently he studies butterflies. So he's, along with being a quote-unquote learned doctor, he has also studied butterflies and how they look. And he's got a case that'll come up later on that shows somebody else a whole lot of different types of butterflies. And they said it doesn't look like any of those. So the horror really comes in that you've got these two girls here, and most butterflies don't have this part right here, and they're looking at it and playing with it, and they're going to call that butterfly Prudence. Well, all of a sudden you get a slash where, like I said, normal butterflies, they don't bite. Well, these two girls run to go see Dr. Hall, and he looks at it and he says, it's not that bad. And then, like I said, he's got this case full of butterflies. Long story short, folks, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, if you're interested in horror, if you're interested in a mysterious plague that comes out of nowhere and nobody really seems to understand who's patient zero, where it began, how to stop it, more importantly. If you like that sort of stuff, you're going to love this book. Now, I've seen a couple other people give it, less than stellar reviews. The artwork is more cartoony, although it does have a set of realism to it. And especially, oddly enough, on the butterflies. They're not photorealistic, but a lot of time and effort and love has been put into illustrating these butterflies in particular. But It's not the greatest comic book I've ever read, no. But as far as an initial assessment, I will give it a solid B plus because it's got me hooked. I want to see what's going on with these butterflies, how they became infected themselves, how this is going to spread to the humans. The one girl, like I said, it's a dancing plague. And so this one girl got sliced open and she starts to dance and the other little girl dances with her. And then finally the other girl says, I gotta sit down. I can't hang with you. You're doing too much. And she keeps dancing. And finally the other girl is like, hey, can you sit down? Just take a breather for a minute because you're giving me a headache with all this thumping and hopping and skipping and all of that. And the girl starts crying and she says, I can't stop. So what happens if you've been infected by something that you didn't even think about? It's a butterfly. Like I said, it's an innocuous creature that you don't really think about being, doing any damage. If it's a python, then you kind of expect to get hurt. If it's a butterfly, not so much. But you've got this slash. Now you have this situation where your body, you're no longer in control of your body. So that's where the horror part comes in, is that you start doing some sort of action expecting to be able to stop whenever you want to, and then you can't. So that's scary. It's scary to think that something else has taken control of your body to the point, it's kind of like a lot of people are afraid of Parkinson's disease, because Parkinson's, it starts with a small tremor, and then by the time you pass away, then more often than not, then your body shakes uncontrollably and you have all the willpower in the world, okay? Green Lantern can will anything to happen. If he can see it, he can make it happen with that ring. But you're not Green Lantern. And so to lose control of your bodily functions or to lose control of your bodily movements, it's scary to a lot of people, and especially as you get older, you get to thinking about it, Parkinson's doesn't hit 100% of the population. A lot of people live into great old age and they don't have that problem. But a lot of people do get hit with it. And it's a scary situation. But anyway, check it out, guys. I think it's worth, checking out if you picked it up in your shop or if you happen to find it loose in the wild. I wouldn't pay $25, $30, $100 for this. It's not that great of a story. But if you can find it for cover price or maybe even say $10, go ahead and pick it up. See what you think about it and come back here in the comments. Let me know what you thought. And thank you again for joining me for initial assessment on Nectar from Vault Comics. Have a great night, guys, and I'll catch you later.